Hey, what's going on YouTube? Alabama Reloader here. So coming to you today, going to be a short and sweet video focused on this little guy right here. So this is a recovered 7mm 130 grain Speer boat tail Spitzer point bullet. And if you will go back and watch the 7mm 08 or 08, however you want to pronounce it, playlist that I have back, I don't know, it might have been a couple of years ago now. I worked up a hunting load for my buddy Richard. You guys, you've seen multiple hunting load workups for him. I believe it's 3 different rifles now. Yeah, I believe it's 3 different rifles, 2 30-06 hunting loads, and then the 7mm 08 load. This is actually the setup that his wife uses to hunt with, and it's a Remington 700. I go through the whole thing on the playlist, so just go check that out. And she killed the first deer she's ever killed this past season, and it was a monster. It was a big old buck. I'm gonna roll a picture in right here, so check that out. Okay, so like I said, it was a monster, right? That's a good first ever deer kill, right? I mean, it doesn't really get much better than that. The ceiling above, that level of buck for her moving forward, she might as well just stop hunting, right? I mean, that's the first and only deer you've ever killed. That's a really good way to join the party. So she was obviously pumped. He was pumped. Just it was an exciting time for both of them, especially, you guys know, if you hunt with loved ones, your wife, your kids, whatever, they kill a deer, any animal, whatever it is. I mean, you're more excited than they are half the time, it seems like. That's how it was when my wife killed her first deer. She killed a doe, and then the next season she killed an 8-point. And she likes to tell people, she was like, I think Wesley was more excited than I was, and I was. So it's just a lot of cool memories that you can make around that. So I'm glad I got to be a part of it. He sent me a picture. It was like, hey, she dropped the hammer on this buck. He didn't take a step. Heart was split wide open. She made a perfect shot. Well, this bullet, right? I went with this. I explained the reason why I chose the 130 grain Speer in that video series. And essentially it was because I was fire forming some brass. I had converted Starline 308 Winchester brass down to the 7mm variant, and I was fire forming the brass. Initially the first 50 pieces that I converted, I wanted to fire form them. So I had some 130 grain Sierra Match Kings, and then I think I had like some 139 grain Hornady interlock bullets. That's what I used to do the fire forming. I don't think I had maybe 20. It might have been like 20 Sierra Match Kings, and they shot lights out. I think I said in the video the first 10 shots were under an inch. It was just a random powder charge, I believe. Might have been IMR 4064. And I just dumped a random charge and loaded them all up, and then went and shot, and the first 10 of that combination shot under an inch. And I was like, okay, maybe this gun likes 130 grain bullets, right? So had some of these Speers on hand. That's what I went with. These shot really well in follow-on testing, and so that's what I went with. That was the hunting load. I cannot remember the powder charge. I want to say somewhere, might have been 44.6 grains, something like that. And with this 130 grain Speer, and you can see really, really good mushroom on it. It was a completely broadside shot. She punched it right in the shoulder, and they found the bullet on the opposing shoulder right underneath the hide. So it did not exit, obviously, otherwise would have been able to recover it. And so you can just see really good performance overall. Now the weight is going to be off just a little bit, right? Because this thing isn't completely clean, but let's just drop it on the scale and see what we got. 90.5 grains. So realistically, because there's some stuff in here folded up under the jacket and all that. So I mean, realistically, you're probably looking at maybe just a hair over 80 grains. So it shed, roughly anywhere from 40 to 50 grains of its original weight, which is what I would expect with this bullet. Now, let's take a step back here. Remember this guy. This was the Speer Grand Slam bullet that I recovered. I just recovered the copper jacket from that buck that I killed. Shot him at about maybe 85, 90 yards. I can't remember exactly the shot distance on him. But the lead core separated. This was the Grand Slam. This is just your standard boat tail Spitzer point. And so you can see the difference. That's why when I did this video about this 270 bullet and I said that it failed, and people were like, oh, well, you got a dead deer, didn't you? Blah, blah, blah. It didn't fail then. Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did. It did not perform, and that was confirmed by Speer, did not perform as it was intended to perform. Okay, so everybody can sit down on that one. Now, this guy performed exactly like it was supposed to perform, right? It expanded rapidly, mushroomed out, retained some of its weight, shed some of its weight. That is how the bullet is supposed to perform in this guy, and then that's exactly how this guy was supposed to perform. Also, it's not a bonded bullet to the point that it's supposed to retain like 90% of its weight, but according to Speer, that one did fail. This one, flawless execution on that one. So really cool stuff. I was super pumped to get my hands on this bullet. You know, he's like, hey, we found the bullet, gonna give it to you. And I'm like, man, you gotta give it to me. You can keep it. That's such a cool memory. But he wanted to give it to me. So that was really nice of him. I do appreciate that. Him turning it over, because that's just so cool being a part of that journey, their hunting journey together, and her getting her first deer. So just super awesome. Couldn't be more happy with that and how that worked out. So really cool performance there. Good stuff. Don't really want to talk more about that. Transitioning over, look at all these gold dots. Holy smokes. So I've been lucky enough here lately to grab some of these guys at a really good price, I think. I mean, these were, I think, $21.99 a box. Just picked these up from Van Sporting Goods over in Coleman. I had to run down. I was doing a little trading with a guy, and we were down there talking in Birmingham, and I was like, man, I'm gonna stop by Van Sporting Goods in Coleman, right off exit 305 on Interstate 65. I'm gonna stop in there and see what they have, you know, powder, primers, that type of stuff. If you're looking for primers, by the way, that would be a good place to hit up. They have just about any flavor and variety of pistol primer that you might want. They have large rifle Magnum primers. They do limit you on how many you can buy. You can only buy 5 100 count sleeves at a time, but they do have them in stock sitting on the shelf. I bought 5 sleeves, so I got 500 that day. And then they have large rifle bench rest. They don't have any just standard large rifle. That's the only downside. But then, of course, they've got a ton of small rifle stuff also. Bench and non, and then I believe they have Magnum as well. So if you're looking for primers and you're kind of hard up on them and you just can't seem to find them, and you're local or you're willing to make a little bit of a drive, Vans, I think it's VANS, Sporting Goods, that's in Coleman, Alabama, right off exit 305 when you're on Interstate 65. That's the interstate runs north and south through Alabama. Stop in there and see what they've got. Now, they got a ton of bullets as well. That's where I picked all these up. I got these from Midway the other day. So now I've got, you know, whatever, that's 250 plus another, whatever, what, 400? Yeah, 400. So I got a lot. Got a lot of these 308 168 grain gold dots, and then I picked up 3 boxes of the 62 grain gold dots for some 223 stuff, which I already have a couple of boxes of those, so now I just got 3 more. But I'm a huge fan of these gold dot bullets, and the reason I've got so many of these in 30 cal is because I plan to use these in the 30 TC, test them out, see how they shoot. I really want to use these on some game. I've used the 6.5 version and killed an 8-point with it, and it performed exactly as a bonded bullet should. So for the price, these things, man, they knock it out of the park, in my opinion, on this Speer gold dot. The rifle bullet lineup, never used the handgun side of the house, but the rifle bullet gold dots, man, they do an amazing job on these. So big fan of these. That's why I went ahead and picked up several. And then also might use these maybe in some 30-06 load workup. I don't know. Hadn't really decided yet, but they will be going in the 30TC 100%. I want to give those a shot in that cartridge and see how it does. So that's it. That's where we're going to leave it. I got to go pack. We got to hit the road. Got some personal travel coming up, so looking forward to that. But all right, guys, I just thought that was cool getting our hands on this bullet. And man, what an incredible first deer. Like, really, you go kill that kind of a buck for your first deer. So that's awesome. But all right, don't forget, if you guys need anything reloading wise and you're in Huntsville or relatively close to Huntsville, go check out Mr. Big Guns over in Huntsville, Alabama. That is my #1 recommendation for reloading stuff, firearms stuff, optics, you name it, whatever it is. If you're local or you're passing through or you're going to be close by, make it a point to stop in there, see those guys, let them know I sent you, tell them I said hey. And that's it. That's where we're going to leave it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll catch you next time. Y'all have a good one.